Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're talking tubes, specifically the Amaran T2C and the Amaran T4C. I purchased my first set during Black Friday last year. They have some amazing deals going on right now as well. I've been using these lights on multiple productions. They're my favorite go-to hair light, easy to set up, and also when you're doing run and gun B-roll, they really do come and play very well. So let's take a look at my custom kit that I built, and I'm going to show you all the components that go into it and how I like to mount these lights. Let's get into it. Quick disclaimer, I purchased all these tubes with my own money. Amaran is not paying me to make this video. I picked up this whole set of lights during Black Friday of last year, and I want to show you guys how I pack them away and use them on set. So here's the case. This is an Apache 9800 case. It is from Harbor Freight. I would have loved to have a Pelican, but once you get past the 4-foot size of interior length, you end up getting into a really high price bracket, and a lot of people use these cases for pew-pews, and that means that they go for a lot more money on marketplace and on the used market. So this is a 9800 case. Let's open it up and see what we have inside. So right off the bat, you could see everything is really organized in this space, and let's cut straight to the tubes. We have two T2Cs. You can see them here. And then we have 3 T4Cs here. Now, what's so special and what's going on here with this foam? Well, these are actually pool noodles. This one doesn't have the pool noodle, and these 4 do. What they work as is protection in the case, so when I travel with them, they don't get damaged. So that's a plus, but also they work as a diffusion. So they go on and off real easily. There's not much effort needed. They slide on, they slide off, real simple, but they also work as a diffusion. And let's break apart the rest of this kit before we get to mounting these lights. So in the center here, I kept one of the 4-foot bags that comes with the tube. And when you open it up, you'll see everything that's piled in. So we have batteries over here. So I have my batteries. We have the power supplies located here, the T4Cs and the T2Cs. And then we have the power cables that connect to those power supplies piled in here. And like I said, we have 5 of them here. We have 5 power supplies and we have 5 batteries. There's probably room for one more tube. So it could be another 4-footer. We could possibly squeeze in 2 more 2-footers, but that's debatable. And then right here we have our grids. So our grids are slid right in there, and this is the bag that comes with the grids. So I reused just one of them and piled all the grids into this space. And then right here we have a swag bag. I've shown these in another video, and I have all my little odds and ends right here. So there's mounting adapters, baby pins, and then also those little bitty, let's get those out. So let's go ahead and get these mounting adapters out. One of the mounting pins has a NATO attachment, so you could clamp onto the back of the light with the NATO rail that's on it. The other one is a 3/8 with RE locating pin on it. And this is the little tripod. It's a generic little tripod I got off of Amazon. I use it to help mount these tubes vertically in a space for quick setup. The batteries have a 3/8 threaded spot on the base of them. So I needed to have an adapter to make them work. And that's where the 3/8 adapter comes into play, turning it into a 1/4-20 where these tripod bases can attach. Let's go ahead and mount these lights. I'm going to swing over a gobo arm from a C-stand. Make sure your load is on the right hand side of the knob. So if you're facing the knob, it's on the right hand side so you don't untwist the friction that you apply to the knob and make it come loose. And then make sure your leg is sticking out, your big leg is sticking out towards the load. So we're going to mount the T2C. It's a little easier to handle in this small space. So this is how it looks. One of the cool features of these tubes is honestly there's so many mounting points. So you have 1/4 20, you have 3/8, and then you have the NATO rail going across the whole back. So it makes it very easy to mount these lights. So we will start off with using the 3/8, and we will attach it, and I'm going to attach it all the way to one side over here. So 3/8, it's going to go in, tighten it down, and it is mounted there, as you can see. It goes right in, and then it's going to go into the C-stand, and it will lock into place. Now, something to think about when doing this is think about your load and your weight and how you want it distributed. Do you want this to be boomed out a little bit extra? That's what it's showing up as doing here. And also think about the battery. So now the battery. This is very lightweight by itself. If I just wanted to run power to it, it would be great and ready to go. But sometimes you don't have the ability to run power to it and you have to run a battery. So the batteries are what carry all the weight. So I'm going to take this battery and attach it and connect the power. And if you can see the way that it's balanced, I have the battery here and then the tube here. It's pretty balanced in that position. I think that's why they possibly put a mounting point here, because the battery weighs so much. I think it weighs as much as the tube or even more. I'm not positive. Don't quote me on that. It just feels that way. It's a very strong battery. Now, when I'm working with a DP and we're setting something up, I use the batteries quickly so I can make sure that I have the ability to set it up. And once we're locked in and then we're going to start rolling for long takes, I go ahead and hook up the power and run the power to the unit itself. So then we don't have to worry about it dying in the middle of shooting. So this is what it looks like. That's a little unlevel. Oh no, my OCD is going to come into play. So this is how it mounts. Now, the other way to mount it is using one of these right here and using the NATO rail. So you could actually attach it to the NATO rail fairly easily. And it is attached, and I have it a little loose so I can make adjustments, and I can move it around to any point I need to get where I need to. So that's really cool as well, is having the ability to shift your weight to balance it perfectly. Or if you're in a tight space and your mounting point has to be right here, you have the ability to mount right here. If it needs to be on the very edge here, which this pin won't be able to do, you can have that happen. So that's a cool thing right there you could do. Also, with the multiple mounting points, if you really wanted to be extra safe, or you were doing something where you needed it extra steady, you could mount in multiple spots and have multiple arms or supports going to it. So I'm going to put this guy back up, which is the NATO rail attachment. And what's cool about both attachments is they're anti-twist, so you shouldn't have a lot of twist or flex. I didn't crank this down all the way, but you won't have the rotation issues as if you just went with a pin inside of any of these, or if you went with the threaded arm or something like that. And let's take a look at what this pull noodle does. So we slide the pull noodle on, and there we go. So now we are getting the pull noodle effect, which is really good. Now it turned it into a bigger source. See how it looks with it on and then off. So it spreads it, wraps it a little bit better. But another common thing to use is a grid. So you see how much spill we're getting. If we wanted the light to just be focused down here and we didn't want the spill on the sides, we'd attach a grid. So this is the grid, and I got it with my kit. So I will slide it on here. And I think you're supposed to take the battery off to do this, but you know what? I think I could get it without the battery coming off. Grid is on here. And we do come across a little bit of issue. There we go. Perfect. Now you see there's no spill happening. Like, you can't even see it on the camera. But down below, we still have that light hitting the space, giving us some control. And that makes it really nice for hair lights, because now you could bring in the subject, they get hit, and then it clears. I also cheat sometimes, depending on the scenario, and I will actually just kind of work this grid to give me a hit where I need to without having to readjust everything. Now, what's really awesome about having it attached to a gobo versus anything else. Sometimes systems for tubes don't really account for, you know, moving it around too much or making it work. And with me, sometimes I have to put it into a crazy position, and this allows me to put it into whatever crazy position I want, however I want it, wherever I want it, and I have a lot of flexibility. So that's pretty much the rundown. I am very impressed with these tubes. They have done very well for me. They're very durable. They've held up really well on my productions, but the output is just amazing on them. And the removable battery, in my eyes, is a plus. Some people don't like it. I know there have been others on the market that have an internal removable battery. That's pretty cool as well. But for me to be able to just pull the battery off, turn it off, click, pull it off, put another one on is great. And then this is so lightweight. I mean, it practically has no weight to it. It's so great on the way that it's designed that it's just like, you know, it's I don't know, it's weightless in my opinion. Honestly, I think these weigh equal. The battery weighs as much as the tube on this setup, and just works out in the end. So if you want to get your hands on these, I know right now Amaran is having a Black Friday sale. They're 50% off. You have your choice of an extra battery or a grid. I would recommend getting a grid. They are essential when using these. Most of the time when they go up, especially when we're lighting a subject for an interview or we just want some more control, a grid is crucial. There will be affiliate links down below to support the channel of everything that I showed you here today. I want to give a big shout out to everyone that watches the channel. Thank you so much. And YouTube recommends you watch this video. I recommend you watch this video. Let me know what you think. Thanks so much, and I'll see you on the next one.